I personally believe that fiat collateralized stablecoins do have the ability to act as an on-ramp to cryptocurrency. I can speak, at least from some of the conversations that we've had in the US, we spoke with many of the large sort of equities market makers in the US that are interested in some capacity of trading cryptocurrencies. But for them, it's a compliance issue, it's this, that, or the other thing. They don't want to go out and buy Bitcoin, then to move that on an exchange and deal with the price in the time in between. And so we've been able to convince a lot of traditional equity folks in the US, like, hey, maybe your first step into cryptocurrency should be getting some TUSD and just trading on that ARB on the exchanges. And it's an easy enough proposition to them where they're like, okay, I get that. This thing stays at $1. Over here, on some very tiny exchange, it's trading at 97 cents. Let's go buy a bunch and let's go trade it on Binance then, where it's trading at a little bit above, for example. So we've been able to do that, and at least from what we've actually done so far, we've seen it as an on-ramp for institutions. The other thing where it's really interesting, and I know that this is a very hot topic in Hong Kong, is around STOs. And so, another opportunity that we see is that if you, say, tokenize a piece of commercial real estate and you want to pay out the revenues on that, or you want to pay out dividends on stock, or whatever it is, you can tokenize those streams of revenue and pay them out directly on the blockchain, rather than having to sort of do half of it on Ethereum and then do half of it in fiat. You'll be able to pay out directly using TUSD. And so I think that that's a very interesting opportunity as well. So what are some other things that stablecoins can be used for beyond trading, which frankly is all that they're used for now? One of them is the fiat on-ramp, like I mentioned. I think that another huge thing there is that you have a lot of new exchanges launching that don't have access to fiat. And so to the extent that we can have sort of a buy with PayPal equivalent button, where people can use that, embed that into their exchange, and then just directly move TUSD onto their exchange after passing a KYC check, I think that that's a great option for a lot of decentralized applications and small exchanges as well. Remittances is obviously a clear opportunity. I'm living in Wan Chai right now, and it's amazing how many, it's like every corner has got a remittance stand. And I haven't really done a study of the market, but I can only imagine what the fees are that some of these people are being charged to send back the Filipino peso or the Thai baht. And to the extent that we can, say, tokenize other currencies and do a forex swap on the back end where someone could, say, send to USD and the person would receive that baht and then they'd be able to redeem that to their bank account, I think that that's a pretty amazing opportunity as well. And then, of course, lending and derivative. So people that can accept USD as collateral for a loan, or can, say if BitMEX was able to settle their contracts in TUSD rather than BTC. So for us, at least, I mentioned I work in Trust Token. We're pretty generally focused on tokenization of real assets. We've started with currencies, moving into commodities, and then eventually into everyone's favorite, security tokens. So, I was going to, my final slide was, there's nothing I'm sure of in the stablecoin industry here. So I've been in Hong Kong for 4 weeks now, and just I never could have expected what happened to USDT on the 15th. That caused our market cap to increase by $75 million. And so who knows what the next week or two is going to bring. But if there's one thing I am fairly sure of, it's that Tether FUD is not going away. They just signed a new banking partner recently, and then it came out yesterday that their bank is involved in a $25 million money laundering case. So I don't know what the deal with them is. They definitely need a better PR person, and they need like a BDM manager to help them get better banks. But I think that that's the only thing in stablecoins that will stay for the time being. Cool. And feel free to have me on WeChat if you want to talk. If you're interested in TUSD, shoot me an email, ryan@trustopen.com. Thanks.
I think we have 1 or 2 minutes. Do you guys have any quick questions for Ryan? If not, we can leave it. Okay.
Because I talk very fast.
All right, some questions.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, what's the business model? And, probably you said right, like arbitrage, right? Is that your business model, and that's how you make money?
No. So that is not our business.
And that's the first question. And the second question is, I think it's like $165 Canadian market cap right now. What's the plan when we all hope investment money are coming in, right? Soros broke the Bank of England, the Thai, and whatever. So what's going to stop it, and what's the plan to hedge funds that are going to come and break your back?
Yeah, sure. So on the first question, business model for us and for all the fiat collateralized stablecoins is that we all earn bank interest on the funds that are held. And so, I think based on all of our contracts, we're able to invest in very short-term, 100% liquid, 2% annually T-bills. And so that's the revenue model for all fiat collateralized stablecoins. To your second question, I think like someone would have to break the peg of the US dollar. If they broke the peg of TUSD, I mean, so be it. Like I said, I mean, go in and buy a bunch. I mean, someone would have to, really be motivated to do that, and I'm not sure what that motivation is, other than being able to buy a bunch themselves.
Well, they would buy it and then short it big time, and you wouldn't be prepared if you don't have like the treasury rate, and then at 90 cents to buy back. That means 20%. Then on way down, turn way up, in 1 hour.
Yeah, I mean, and so I mean, full transparency, like our peg has definitely depegged before, right? So in May, when when it was announced that we were listing on Binance, we had a circulating supply of about 40 million, and we think what happened is Binance announced they were listing us, and there are Twitter bots that sort of scrape Twitter whenever Binance is listing a new coin. They'll go up and buy that coin on other exchanges, and a and so the bots weren't trained yet to react to stablecoins, and so they went up and bought a ton of TUSD, and I think the price went up to like $1.30 or something. It stabilized within the next day once people realized how ridiculous that was. But I think the same would happen in reverse.
Nice. I think we will have more questions, and why not we kick off the discussion and then bring in all these questions into the discussion. So please welcome James from Kinetic. So he's the head of markets, and we also have Macy Wong to be our moderator today. And I'm sure they will introduce themselves to the crowd. So please welcome them to the stage.